What's up, gentlemen? Today we're going to talk about entitled women. The first thing you should understand about them is that they can only exist in countries where things are stable and there are sufficient or abundant resources. That is the only way you will see entitlement on a large scale, such as what we see today from women living in first world countries in the West. The government will then have to grant women rights, freedom, and power that allow them to be equal to or above men in society. The final component required to create an entitled woman is government welfare. Without those three things present, entitlement cannot exist on a large scale, and I'm going to show you why. Let's start with the first ingredient of the entitled modern woman, who is typically living in a stable first world country. Many of you watching this video were born in a first world country, particularly in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia. Those 4 countries just popped into my head, and believe me when I say you guys had it pretty good. Wait until you travel to a poorer country and realize how fortunate you are. Living in a first world country causes you to lose perspective on how bad things are outside of that country, at least until you are exposed to the living conditions of countries that do not have the same wealth, resources, and opportunities. The same applies to the women in your country, but they take it a little differently. To give the women in your country a perspective on how the world actually is, you'd have to drop them off in a poor country and leave them there to survive. You can't just bring them there and show them how bad it is for them to care. You have to let life humble them in order for them to appreciate what they have in their first world country. Only if women in these first world countries lose their welfare and the country's economy collapses will you see the entitlement disappear overnight. Just look at what happened to the womanist movement now that the economy has tanked. They've gone completely silent. I don't hear them thumping their chest and bragging about how strong and independent they are anymore. But I do see them seeking arrangements looking to be spoiled by sugar daddies and make some extra money on the side. All that remains is to eliminate all welfare systems, and the game is over. The second component required to create the entitled modern woman is a democratic system that gives them equal or greater power than men, with a hint of womanism. In countries like Russia and China, where it's more authoritarian and womanism isn't as strong as it is here in the West, where you see women acting up. It doesn't happen on a large scale there because the men over there don't give women too much power and control. Without power and rights, widespread entitlement among women will not exist. It simply cannot exist because the country's laws do not allow them to be entitled in the first place, or they will be severely punished. However, because women in the West are given too many rights, power, and control, you can expect female entitlement on steroids because women don't know how to handle power. They will naturally abuse it and cause problems. And when the men are unable to check these women due to the country's laws, it's game over. Why do you think women fight so hard for power and control? They understand that without those key elements, they would not have what they have now, and men would naturally lead and dominate them. Welfare is the final ingredient required to make some entitlement. If a country does not provide welfare programs for its citizens, they will be forced to fend for themselves and find a way to survive. People would have to stay close to their families, find a partner who can bring in some extra income, leave their country and relocate to a first world country, or dig themselves out of the trenches with whatever opportunity presented itself. Women are not stupid, so they will try to hitch their wagon to men and rely on men for support. Women do this because they cannot rely on the government and must instead rely on men. Most women will not be thumping their chests, and if they are, it is because they have a man taking care of them, so you will only see entitlement in wealthy areas, not the entire country, because everyone else is either broke or poor, and poor people cannot afford to be entitled because they have nothing to be entitled to. Let me explain why entitled women are the worst in my opinion. It's as simple as that. They treat you like garbage. They are ungrateful, unappreciative, disrespectful, and believe they are superior to you. A woman with such a dirty heart will not make a good partner, and they are oppressive to be around. A perfect example is when you take an entitled woman to a restaurant and she treats the staff like crap. All of this stems from entitlement because if she was humble, she would never disrespect the staff for no reason. To disrespect someone for no reason, you have to believe you are better than them, and that is the worst thing about them. So I don't mess with women like that. Instead, I prefer gentle and humble women who know how to act properly, not embarrass me, and not gossip about others in public or in my presence. Don't forget to hit the like button to help spread the word about this video. Thank you for taking your daily dose of red pills. And remember that a red pill a day keeps bad poker hands away. So have a good rest of your day and cheers.